This is multiplying a polynomial by a monomial. Use the distributive property, multiply coefficients, add exponents, combine like terms, write your answer in standard form. None of this stuff here are things we have not done, but you have to combine a couple things. Okay? So as I'm looking at this is a monomial. It's one term. Basically, a term is something that's not separated by an addition sign or subtraction sign. So here's one term multiplied by this polynomial. This is a polynomial. It has three terms, so that means it's a trinomial. And I know this because they're separated by subtraction signs or addition signs. So what I'm going to do to multiply this is I'm just going to do distributive property. So I have negative 3x squared times 7x squared plus negative 3x squared times negative 1x plus okay, so notice you have to take what's outside the parentheses, multiply it by all three, and I change this to a negative 1x, so I'm sure that it's a negative 1. Now this is stuff that we've done before. We've done these types of problems. You know in this case it's multiplication. There's no plus sign in here, so I'm going to multiply negative 3 times 7, so negative 21. And with multiplication I add exponents, so it's x to the fourth. Plus sign. Negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. X. I'm looking for things at the same base. 2 and 1 is 3. Plus. So do that. Put a plus sign. Separate your terms. And the last one, negative 12 and x to the second. Now I need to look, are there any like terms that I can combine? This is x to the fourth, so I cannot. With the third, x to the second. None of them have the same exponent to the same variable to the same power, so I'm done. As long as my answer is in standard form. Is it in standard form? Yes. My highest degree of exponent comes first. So now I'm done. Let's look at number 2. Okay, I have two multiplication problems here. So I have 2p times negative 4p squared plus 2p times 5p plus, so I'm doing distributive property here. Now this is separate. This is not multiplied by 2p. It's a minus. The problem that people have here is they don't know what to do this minus sign. It's subtraction. But I've been saying use addition of the opposite all the time. So forget about the fact that it says minus. Change it to plus a negative. So I'm going to do distributive property with a negative 5. So negative 5, 2p squared, negative 5 times 20. This is probably the most common mistake. They don't know what to do in their subtraction. Put a plus sign like you always do and multiply everything by a negative 5. So now let's just go each problem one at a time. So here's negative 8p to the third. So 2 times negative 4. And this is p to the first and p to the second. So that adds to 3. Plus sign. 2 times 5, 10. P to the second. So I'm multiplying. When you're multiplying, you're adding exponents. Plus sign. Negative 10. P to the second. Plus sign. Negative 100. Now what I want to look at. Do I have any like terms? Yes. This is p to the second. This is p to the second. Positive 10 plus negative 10 is 0. It's not p, it's 0. So negative 8, p to the third, plus negative 100. Here's my answer. Those cancel out to 0. Look at number 3. Again, need to do distributive property, of course. This is a minus, so pay attention. I'm going to change that to plus negative 1x, and then multiply by all three of these. So 3, 5x squared, 3 times 2x, 3 times negative 4, plus negative 1x, 7x squared, negative 1x, 2x, negative 1x, negative 3. So make sure you pay close attention to the minus signs. Like here, change to a negative 3, plus a negative 3, plus a negative 3. It's 2 marks with your pencil. Now multiply them out. So I have 15x squared plus 6x plus negative 12 plus negative 7x to the third plus negative 2x squared plus 3x. So again, all these things you know how to do, but there's lots of steps, so take your time, be careful. Now I'm going to combine like terms. X to the third, there's nothing else that's x to the third, so that stays. Plus, okay, here's an x squared, here's an x squared. 15 plus a negative 2 is 13. 6x, 3x, combine to make 9x, and then negative 12. It's standard form, and I'm done. And the last one, there's one sometimes where you have to solve an equation. So this is d times d plus d times 3. Again, I have a minus sign. Negative 1d times d. So I'm making that plus a negative 1. And I'm going to make this plus a negative 4. Okay, so let's continue to simplify. D times d is d squared plus 3d plus negative d squared plus d. So my like terms are positive d squared and negative d squared. Those add to 0. 3d and d. Actually, this should be 4d. So we have 7d equals 9d minus 16. Hopefully you know how to solve from here. So I'm going to subtract 9d on both sides. So negative 2d is equal to negative 16. Make sure you bring down that minus. And then divide both sides by negative 2. So d is equal to 8.